How are you? Good. Because today I'm going to embarrass myself by watching this video. The European Summary on a Map by Geohistory. Go check them out. I already know this video is going to be great. How do I know? Well, look at the like ratio. That's right. I have the like ratio back because I installed some kind of plugin. It's great. It's the greatest thing I ever did. Anyway. This is going to go all the way from the end of World War II to Brexit. And I guarantee I'm going to know none of it.
Of World War II. The story begins at the end of World War II, as the European continent lies devastated, leaving the United States and the USSR as the two.
Okay, is it this low quality or is this just my computer? Like, what's going on? Hold on. Fixed it.
The United States and the USSR as the two major world powers.
Yeah.
Their growing rivalry marks the beginning of the Cold War. While the Soviets control Eastern Europe, the West looks to the US for
See, like, this is crazy to me. I mean, I'm embarrassed to even say, but it's just like crazy. Like, okay, the USSR controlled that many countries, this much land that's now Europe. That's crazy.
Construction aid. While the old continent is found divided by the Iron Curtain, in the West, the idea of European unity begins to take hold. On the 9th of May 1950, France, via its Foreign Minister Robert Schuman, proposes a Franco-German reconciliation and placing under a common high authority the production of coal and steel, the main wealth of industrialized countries, which is also needed for the manufacture of weapons. The aim is to boost the economy and maintain peace, with the project left open to countries wishing to join. The following year in Paris, 6 countries sign a treaty establishing the European Coal and Steel Community. As Germany is divided by the Iron Curtain, only West Germany becomes part of it.
Treaties of
To
Rome.
accelerate the development of Europe, the 6 founding countries meet on the 25th of March 1957
Only 6 countries
in Rome to sign
Europe.
2 new treaties. The first treaty creates the European Economic Community, whose main objective is to establish a common market, including allowing the free movement of workers and eliminating tariffs between member states.
Wow.
The treaty also defines common policies on transport, trade, and agriculture. The Common Agricultural Policy, among other goals, aims to increase agricultural productivity, offer reasonable prices, and ensure a fair standard of living for farmers. The second treaty establishes the
Specifically for farmers.
European Atomic Energy Community, coordinating civilian nuclear research programs. The Treaties of Rome enter into force in 1958, but it would take several years for its policies to be implemented. Many countries asked to join the communities, including the United Kingdom. But France, under the leadership of Charles de Gaulle, vetoes the accession request,
Really?
considering the UK as too close of an ally to the United States.
Wow. I would have thought the UK was included from the get-go. That's really fascinating. Okay, so the UK is too close to the USA, and apparently that's just a problem. Problem with France. Damn, I didn't know that. Sorry, UK. I feel like a bad friend, you know, like we kept you out of this other friend group. Economic growth.
The institutions of the 3 communities are merged to enable more efficient functioning. There is now a single commission composed of commissioners chosen by the heads of state. Its role is to propose European laws in the common interest of its members.
Wow.
There is the Council, made up of ministers of the member states, and whose role it is to approve, modify, or reject the proposals of the Commission. There is the Parliament, representing the people of Europe, and which also gives its opinion on Commission proposals. Its power would increase over.
You know what's amazing about this? It's just not that long ago. That's one of the just things that just blows my mind every single time, you know? I was born in the 90s, and it's like stuff that it feels like this type of stuff is ancient history, but it's absolutely not. Like my parents were alive.
Forthcoming treaties.
Unbelievable.
Finally, there is a court of justice that rules over the legality of decisions taken. In 1967, the United Kingdom renews its request for membership, which France opposes a second time. With the removal of tariffs for industrial and agricultural products and the free movement of workers, the economic situation improves rapidly,
Wow.
prompting a new wave of membership applications. This
How
time,
interesting.
negotiations
So it was just a huge success. Huge success. You open up the borders and cut down some restrictions between the people to trade, and boom.
go well. But in Norway, the population opposes the country's accession in a referendum. In 1973, Ireland, the United Kingdom, and Denmark joined the community.
Okay.
In Paris, the heads of state and government come to an agreement to create the European Council. Leaders would meet at least 3 times a year to together define the broad guidelines of the community. South of the continent, after the end of dictatorships in Portugal, Greece, and Spain, the 3 countries request membership of the community. In 1979, for the first time, members of the European Parliament are elected by universal suffrage. In 1981, Greece joins the community, while the following year, Greenland,
I mean, to be honest, I didn't even know Greece was part of the EU.
which receives more autonomy from Denmark, chooses to leave the community after a referendum. In
Wow.
1984, the
So Greenland was the original Brexit.
United Kingdom under Margaret Thatcher says it does not benefit enough from the Common Agricultural Policy, which then represented 80% of EU spending.
Oh, gotcha. So that's where the drama started. They're saying they don't benefit enough from. They're spending all this money that they're collectively putting together, and the UK is like, we're not getting enough out of this.
The country
Got it.
negotiates to obtain a reduction in its contribution to the community's budget. In 1986, Spain and Portugal joined the community. 12 member states and
Wow.
the European Commission give a boost to the internal market by signing the Single European Act. In addition to eliminating custom fees, the goal is to remove all obstacles to the free movement of people, goods, capital, and services.
How
It is
cool
the
is
Single
that?
Market project to be completed by 1993. After the fall of the Berlin Wall, Germany is reunified. In the east, the USSR can no longer contain revolts and collapses, opening up new horizons for the community, which establishes contacts with the country.
I'm surprised that right there, like this right
In
here.
the east, the USSR can no longer contain revolts and collapses, opening
Happened without major war. Maybe I'm just talking like I'm too ignorant on the subjects, but I feel like it's surprising how it's just like, oh, yep, they let go of power of all these countries just like that.
east, the USSR can no longer contain revolts and collapses, opening up new horizons for the community, which establishes contacts with the countries of Eastern Europe. On 7th of February 1992, European heads of state signed the Maastricht Treaty. The European Union is created and gets new powers. The treaty envisages an economic union and the future creation of a common European currency. All countries ratify
And that was just in 1992. The euro was, man, it's just not that long ago.
the treaty, including Denmark, where 2 referendums and negotiations to be exempted from the common currency are required. A new wave of countries request membership to the Union, but Switzerland and then Norway oppose
That's crazy. Switzerland wasn't in the EU all the way up till here.
potential candidacy via referendums. On the other hand, in Austria, Sweden, and Finland,
Wait, Switzerland is in the EU, right?
negotiations succeed, and in 1995, the EU grows to 15 members. Signed in Schengen, Luxembourg in 1985, the Schengen Agreement is gradually introduced from 1995. Its objective is to abolish border controls and therefore have total freedom of movement within the European
Wow.
Union. The agreement is incorporated
Pretty cool.
into the European Union through the Treaty of Amsterdam. In addition, the Common Currency Project advances, which would be called the euro. However, the United Kingdom, Sweden, and Denmark do not want it.
Oh, damn. Okay, so I'm seeing now, like, the UK, some of the historical drama. You know what I mean? Like, how Brexit kind of came about.
The remaining member countries set up the European Central Bank. The euro was officially launched on the market in 1999, although the currency
What, that wasn't until 99?
would be put into circulation only from the 1st of January 2002. As negotiations take place to enlarge the union, heads of state meet in Nice to try and improve the structure of the union. The outcome of the Treaty of Nice is considered mixed. 2 referendums are needed in Ireland for it to come into force.
This is pretty remarkable, the amount of coordination between this many different countries that are just completely different with different languages and huge geographical area to coordinate like this, and it's amazing.
On the 1st of May 2004, 10 new countries are included in the European Union. All new members joined the Schengen area with the
Wow, that was all in 2004. Huge enlargement.
exception of Cyprus, as part of the island is controlled by the Turkish army since 1974. After the half-failure of the Treaty of Nice, the 25 heads of state meet in Rome to again try to streamline the functioning of the European Union. This
Is Switzerland not part of the EU?
time, they aim to create a constitutional treaty that would replace all existing treaties with a single text. This sparks heated debate across Europe. Fearing an overly powerful European Union at the expense of national sovereignty, the French and Dutch populations oppose the treaty via referendums. This triggers a period of reflection and in-depth consultation within member states. On January 1, 2007, Romania and Bulgaria joined the European Union. The same year, 27
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't even know they were in the EU either. Romania and Bulgaria.
heads of state signed the Treaty of Lisbon, which aims to strengthen and improve the functioning of the EU after enlargement. Notably, it is agreed that the EU's role is to promote peace, support sustainable development, fight against social exclusion and discrimination, and safeguard cultural heritage. The treaty is ratified by all states
Wow.
but Ireland,
Sounds like overall pretty good stuff.
which holds a referendum and rejects it. Yet again, more negotiations and a second referendum would be needed in Ireland for it to take effect. The global economic and financial crisis has repercussions on the Eurozone, which enters a recession. After the rout of major European banks, many countries find themselves in difficulty.
It's interesting. I don't think of the Great Recession. I mean, I guess it's just typical American type of like not connecting to the rest of the world. But back in these days, I mean, I was pretty young during the Great Recession of 2008. But I didn't think of it as affecting the rest of the world as much as it did compared to the United States.
In particular, Greece, part of whose public debt has been kept hidden with the help of consultants from the Goldman Sachs Bank. The country is forced to ask for financial aid from the Eurozone and the IMF, in exchange for which it must implement austerity measures. Ireland, coming to the aid of its banks, also sees its public debt explode. But the country does not want to ask for aid from the Eurozone, fearing it may in return be forced to raise its low corporate tax rates.
Interesting. I didn't know Ireland has such low corporate tax rates. So do a lot of corporations incorporate in Ireland to get a low rate?
The country finally receives aid all the same, in exchange for which it must adopt a strict plan. Subsequently, Portugal, Greece a second time, Spain, and then
gosh.
Cyprus obtains financial aid from the Eurozone, while almost everywhere on the continent, austerity plans are put into place. In 2013, Croatia joins the European Union. At the borders of the continent, the so-called Arab Spring creates instability in many countries. The civil war in Syria, a second civil war in Libya and in Iraq, and other events such as the war in Afghanistan and violence in the Horn of Africa push many people to migrate to Europe. Despite the construction of walls at the Turkish border, in 2015, over 1 million migrants entered the Schengen area. Europe tries to slow the flow of migration. Security patrols are reinforced on the Mediterranean Sea, while
That's a really tough thing, isn't it? Because on one hand, you want to let all these migrants in because, it's just like a ethical human type of thing to do, like just to want to help people fleeing their countries. But on the other hand, sometimes it's not feasible.
certain countries temporarily reintroduce controls at their borders. In addition, the European Union signs agreements with Turkey and then with Libya, where the political situation is very unstable, so that they control and block the so-called illegal migration routes in exchange for financial aid. Migrant processing centers are funded, mainly in Italy and Greece, where migrants find themselves awaiting regularization in overcrowded conditions. The migration crisis divides European countries and fuels the rise of nationalist and Eurosceptic parties.
Hold on. How long has my camera been off? I've just been so intently staring at this. I did not know that. Okay, so Switzerland is not in the EU. Honestly, out of all this, that's just something I didn't know. I just assumed it was. I guess that's part of what makes Switzerland such a neutral country. Like, they're militarily neutral and they don't have any influence from the EU. I'm sure they have some influence of being surrounded by it, but wow, that's just weird.
In June 2016, the United Kingdom, through a referendum, votes in favor of leaving the European Union.
Here we go.
The country then enters long and difficult negotiations with the European Union to define the conditions of their withdrawal. After numerous failures, an agreement for Brexit is finally reached, and the United Kingdom exits the EU on January 31, 2020.
Honestly, it kind of got overshadowed by the whole pandemic type situation. You know what I mean? Like, this was crazy, and it took such a long time. I remember back in 2016 when they voted on it, but nothing happened for forever.
And the United Kingdom exits the EU on January 31, 2020. While the UK no longer has any decision-making power in the bloc, it continues to contribute to the European budget and receive funding at least until the end of the year.
Well, I mean, this is old news at this point. So funding has ended, and they don't contribute anymore.
This deadline,
right?
It is meant to negotiate future agreements with the EU, in particular concerning customs duties, free movement, the status of Europeans living in the United Kingdom and vice versa, and the status of the border that separates Ireland from Northern Ireland.
What I don't get is, does the UK still use the euro or what? Does the UK use the euro? I mean, I think y'all do. I feel like y'all do. Maybe not. Or maybe not. I'm having trouble even finding this out. Guys, this is what I'm looking at. Okay, since the UK has withdrawn, euro adoption is practically impossible. Okay. So they don't. They just use the pound now, right? Okay.
After the departure of the United Kingdom, the European Union has 27 member states with a population of about 450 million.
That's kind of comparable to the United States of America, huh? Interesting. I didn't realize the populations were that close. I mean, obviously you guys have more, but it's kind of surprisingly close. And we have, and you have 20, what did he say, 26 states compared to 50? It's just not that, it's kind of comparable.
Negotiations are underway.
Obviously these countries are way bigger than most states, or most of these countries are.
Way for the accession of new countries, mostly in the Balkans. Negotiations for Turkey's accession, which started in 2005, are stalled. 19 countries are members of the Eurozone, while 6 other countries have adopted the Euro without being a member of the Eurozone or the EU.
Oh, so you can use the euro even if you're not in the EU.
Adopted the Euro without being a member of the Eurozone or the EU. Finally, the Schengen area now comprises 26 states, including 4 non-members of the European Union, with Cyprus, Croatia, Bulgaria and Romania expected to integrate soon.
Honestly, I feel like I exposed myself for being extremely ignorant, but then again, that's what this entire channel is kind of about. So I don't care. Thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully that wasn't too painful, especially to the Swiss out there. I hope you guys are doing good. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Subscribe if you feel like it. Goodbye.